How's it going? Guys, my name is Bill and welcome to UFO Files. Hope you had a fantastic day and a fantastic evening. Before we get started though, I'd like to talk to you about something. The last video we posted, Roswell and what the government don't want you to know, is the most popular video on that channel. There'll be a little eye in the top right hand corner if you haven't checked it out. Please make sure. It's absolutely incredible video. It's doing exceedingly well on Facebook. I think we've had 1,000 and something potential views or targeted views. I'm not really sure how that's called, but it just goes to show you, the viewers, are sharing and liking the content. And it's absolutely just blown my mind. Not to mention, since posting that video, we've gone up by I think maybe 8 subscribers, and it's just wow, you know. Thank you so much. Seriously, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, that you're enjoying my work and the effort that I put into them, because it just take me ages to put all this together, the videos. You know, I don't just Google nonsense and then put a video together within, a few hours and upload it. Oh, that'll get 4 views or something. It generally takes me, it could be days, but I do my best to put it out there, and it really amazes me how you all enjoying the videos. Thank you, seriously, thank you. But anyway, that's that. Sorry about that. In today's video, we're going to talk about the true story behind the Project Blue Book, and did the United States hunt for aliens? So what say you sit back, relax, and grab yourself a beverage, and we'll get into today's video. For centuries, humans have wondered if they're alone in the universe. In the early 20th century, the US government set out to figure out once and for all. Since man first walked on the Earth, and especially since he walked on the moon, one question has plagued humankind: are we really alone in this wide, unending universe? In ancient times, the appearance of shooting stars sparked an interest in extraterrestrial life forms. Now, the so-called signs are much more advanced: floating lights, drones, photographs, and first-hand encounters of actual abductions. But where does the fantasy end and the reality begin? Just how many of those floating lights and grainy photos of wild accounts are real? And if they are, is the government hiding it all from us? Project Blue Book hope to answer each and every one of these questions. While extraterrestrial enthusiasts are the butt of many jokes, especially where aliens are concerned. I'm looking at you, the guy from Ancient Aliens, surprised you to know that they were once taken seriously. In the fact, there was a very official project run by the United Air Force that specialised in pinpointing unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, and determining their purpose. This endeavour was known as Project Blue Book. It all began in 1947 when an Army general named Lieutenant General Nathan Twining sent a classified memo to the Pentagon titled Flying Discs. The memo detailed the encounter Twining had with a group of disc-like aircraft. He claimed that the discs demonstrated extreme rates of climbing manoeuvre, particularly in roll and in motion, which must be considered evasive when sighted or contracted by friendly aircraft or radar. Per Twining's memo, Project Sign was started at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base near Dayton, Ohio. Project Sign was later replaced by Project Grudge, though neither collected sufficient data or turned out any viable conclusion. Thus, Project Blue Book was born. According to the government, documents released under the Freedom of Information Act, Project Blue Book ran officially from 1952 to 1969. Even the facts of the Project Blue Book have been released to the public. There remains a certain amount of mystery surrounding the events, fueling conspiracy theories, casting a veil of doubt over any real facts that stand out. To sort out fact from fiction is depending on who you ask. Impossible, however, in any mention of the project. Two things are constantly conveyed as fact: that the project aimed to A. determine if UFOs were a threat to national security, and B. to scientifically analyse any and all collected UFO data. With those two aims in mind, the project was born. Though it wasn't the first of its kind, it was the first to run efficiently and collect usable conclusion data. Under the guidance of a handful of Air Force generals, the operatives working for the project spent their time essentially on the lookout for UFOs. Cold War panic has instilled in the American public the fear of all things unknown, especially things that came from the sky, and from the general direction of Russia. Project Blue Book was in a part supposed to dispel some of the panic, to debunk theories that Russia was condulging with aliens, or that the United States was under attack from yet another foreign foe. The first head to Project Blue Book was Captain Edward J. Ruppelt, an experienced airman and decorated for his efforts in World War II. With the Air Corps, he officially coined the term unidentified flying object and was dedicated to scientifically and generally researching each UFO sighting. He looked into such popular cases as the Lumberg Lights, which was a UFO in Texas, and a 1952 radar case of a Washington, D.C. Ruppelt-led a scientific consultant was J. Allen Hynek, a prominent astronomer from Chicago. As a scientist, Hynek's participation legitimized the project in a way it was just a bunch of soldiers searching the sky for mysterious lights. It was now a scientific study of life beyond Earth. Most of Hynek's job involved explaining away mysterious lights as a natural phenomenon, or attributing flying objects to planes, asteroids, or sometimes simply clouds. Hynek went into a project of self-proclaimed skeptic and admitted that sometimes he tried too hard to explain the strange phenomena away with impulses reasons. However, there was a few events that took place during the project that sparkled Hynek's interest, enough for him to continue his own studies long after Project Blue Book had been shut down. In fact, it was Hynek who would go on to coin the infamous alien term, close encounters. On his change of heart, Hynek once told an interviewer that you can't assume that everything is black, no matter what. The caliber of the witness began to trouble me. Quite a few instances were reported by military pilots. For example, I knew them to be fairly well trained. So this is when I first began to think that maybe there was something to all of this. Several army generals oversaw Project Blue Book during the 2 decades it ran. Each general had a different regime, different goals, different interpretations of what they were looking for, and sometimes their findings disputed those of those predecessors. Perhaps the most change-ridden area in Project Blue Book was of Major Hector Quintanilla. Under Major Quintanilla's watch, the project underwent changes, some of which were performed under suggestion from outside forces, something that had rarely been done under previous generals. One of the first changes to the project was the verification of several lights that had been popping up for years in the same place. Quintanilla's officers found that many previous researchers had been mistaking Jupiter for UFO lights for several years. He found several similar misidentifications as well. Perhaps the most important event that happened under Major Quintanilla was a Congress hearing. In 1966, the northern area of New England began to experience a string of potential extraterrestrial encounters. Lights flashed across the sky, in patterned formations, and residents reported a flying disc hovering in the air. It got to the point where congressional hearing was ordered by the House of Community of Armed Services. The lights were explained away as flying billboards and or an airborne training exercise, but speculation still abounded. It took Hynek testifying that he had not seen any evidence to confirm extraterrestrial existence to put the matter to bed, but many believe that Hynek may have been fibbing. Major Quintanilla also oversaw the suggestion of other changes at Project Blue Book. Under direction from Hynek, the project intended to improve upon the communication between the scientific community and the researchers. Hynek believed that there was less attention to scientific detail being paid than there was to public relations aspect of the project. In other words, Hynek wanted to find real UFOs, while the army was focusing on making sure the public knew that UFOs weren't real. While the changes was almost implemented and some of those focus started shifting into real science, the payoff wasn't what Hynek expected. Before much further research could be done, the project began to come to an end. Indeed, Hynek would then later admit that many of his investigations simply defied explanation. So he publicly went along with the skeptical sentiments of the Air Force. Hynek would then later reveal that Quintanilla's method was simply disregard any evidence that was counter to his hypothesis. He added that under Quintanilla's, the flag of utter nonsense school was flying at its highest. Throughout the 17 years that it operated, Project Blue Book collected 12,618 UFO reports, 11,917 of them explained away as a result of a cloud coverage. obscuring aircraft lights, classified Air Force training exercises, or mirages in the desert of the southern western United States. However, to conspiracy theorists alike, 701 of these cases remain unsolved. Whether the researchers didn't have the time to solve them, whether they really were aliens flying overhead remains unknown. In late 1969, Secretary of the Air Force Robert C. Siemens Jr. announced the Project Blue Book was coming to an end, and there was no further scientific evidence to prove that UFOs was a matter of national security. The project officially ceased to exist on 17th of December 1969, though some research efforts continued until January of the following year. The official findings of the Project Blue Book claimed that 4 things influenced UFO sightings. Number 1. Mass hysteria among the American people. 2. Individuals hoping to propose a hoax to seek fame. Number 3. Psychopathological person. Number 4. Misidentification of controversial objects. These findings also provided a firm response to the existence of UFOs, claiming the following. Number 1. No UFO reported, investigated and elevated by the Air Force has ever given any identification or threat to our national security. Number 2. There has been no evidence submitted by or discovered by the Air Force that sightings categorized as unidentified represent technological developments or principles beyond the range of present-day scientific knowledge. Number 3. There has been no evidence indicating the sightings categorized as unidentified are extraterrestrial vehicles. In short, Project Blue Book, while sparking interest into the existence of UFOs, claimed to have solved the mystery once and for all by chalking it up to national phenomena. Hynek went on to continue his own investigations and established the Center of UFO Studies, CUFOs, in 1973. Of the myriad investigations CUFOs undertook, roughly 80% of them can be explained, 20% remains a mystery. While the US Air Force may believe the final report of Project Blue Book may be true, the question still lingers in the minds of skeptics, experts alike today. Are we really alone in the universe? I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like and a share on the way out. That would be absolutely fantastic. As always, stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Alright, kick back, relax, and grab yourself a beverage. A hop if you wanna just bounce to my leverage. The evidence, as they say, is in the pudding. So show me the money like my name was Cuba Gooding. It ain't